Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. Prepare to bask in unprecedented glory, because today I'm going to shed light on what it's like to work at McDonald's according to Reddit. But before I indulge you, before I partake in reading the Reddit posts, I'm going to chime in and give my 2 cents pertaining to what I believe it's like working at McDonald's. Now, of course, I have no first-hand experience in this domain and I'm making arbitrary presumptions, but I'm usually correct when it comes to this. Now, working at McDonald's is seemingly a dead-end job. Why? It pays a minimum wage or close to minimum wage, and when you factor in your net income, it's significantly lower than your gross revenue. So it's quite a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. Remember that when you work at McDonald's, you're receiving poor man's wage, or you're receiving an extremely low salary. So it creates a recipe for destitution, indigence, and poverty, to say the least. It's a recipe for chronic poverty, and it's an arduous, cumbersome situation to maneuver your way out of. I apologize about being so negative, but this prospect seems to be bleak, grim, and dire, to say the least. So, after you receive your hourly wage at McDonald's, you're going to receive a pittance in the form of your net income. Your net income is lower than your gross revenue because you have to succumb to paying 7 types of taxes, which encompass federal income tax, state income tax, local income tax, social security tax, Medicare tax, inflation, and of course the Obamacare individual mandate penalty. In other words, if you don't have health insurance under duress, you have to pay a massive extortion fee of close to $700, because we live in a controlled market in which you cannot control your finite monetary assets that you work hard to earn. So, in other words, you're disincentivized from working, because if the more you work, the more money you make, the more money you're going to be extorted out of under duress. So it's quite a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. Now, I apologize about digressing a bit, but let's get back onto the topic. So working at McDonald's, you really have no prospects for a long-term career. You may be promoted, but if you're promoted, the disparity between a managerial position versus a frontline employee is relatively marginal. You may get paid a pittance more than a frontline employee, but whether you're a shift manager, an assistant manager, it doesn't make too much of a difference. So every dollar an hour helps, but it's still minor and minute and just marginal, to say the least. So you have to put everything into perspective and look at everything objectively. You're going to get paid a low salary, which is going to create a recipe for chronic poverty, and bartering your time for a low salary, expending your calories for a low salary, trading in your hours for a salary is a recipe for chronic poverty, to say the least. So the job is a rudimentary job. The job is sheer and utter drudgery, and the job has you partake in doing tasks which are redundant, mundane, and which are mind-numbingly boring. So you have to probably deal with irate, livid customers. You have to deal with repetition, and you have to deal with commuting to and from work. And you're likely not going to receive any fringe benefits. And once you cannot operate your vessel anymore, when you cannot move your marionette, your puppet, your water bag, your body, your vessel from point A to point B, you're going to get fired. So you're capital livestock to them. You have no real value to the company. You're essentially expendable, and you're not indispensable. You're essentially dispensable, and you're a resource, you're a tool that the company leverages so that they could ramp up their profitability. So those are my 2 cents. Let's see what Reddit users have to say. I have to be quick here. My computer is on the cusp of losing all its memory. So let's just look at these Reddit posts. These are what former employees had to say. I'm presuming they're former employees, and most likely are. I'm just hoping the words are not duplicitous. So let's see what they have to say. I worked at 7 different fast food restaurants and blown my coworkers out in the water, because McDonald's trains you to work, to clean out and move fast. So once again, you're just maximizing the utility of your vessel. You're essentially exhausting your vessel, which is never good. If you got time to learn, you got to clean. Let's see here. I had a voucher from the store manager once, stating I can order any combo I wanted for free and give employees a voucher. So I ordered a double Big Mac. Apparently it's a Canadian thing. The US doesn't have double Big Macs. Okay, this guy is an employee. I presumed he was. Let's see here. I just want testimonies from employees about the experience appertaining to working at McDonald's. Let's see here. People are just trolling on these forums, to say the least. Let's see here. What do we have? Not a current employee of McDonald's, but about a decade I worked there. The job itself isn't bad. The managers tend to ask you to do things they're supposed to do, but don't want to, because the task is gross. But you'll get that at any food service job. The real problems come with customers. As a McDonald's employee, no customer ever really treats you with respect. They demand things from you, and because it's supposed to be fast food, they expect their food instantly. I've had people scream their heads off at me for her food taking more than 2 minutes to prepare when she ordered about $30 worth of stuff. Do you know how much $30 can buy you there? It's a lot. Other than that, it's pretty much similar to working anywhere else in food. Things are just set up to make the actual cook time take less time. So at McDonald's, the foods are tainted with carcinogens, neurotoxins, endocrine disruptors. You have animal products which ravage your DNA, shorten your telomeres, increase your mortality rate, compromise your immune system, and that bear a deleterious effect against your overall health and well-being. Now, the animal products are subsidized by the government, so they're dirt cheap. But really, in essence, to make 1 pound of animal carcasses, you need 10 pounds of plant-based protein. But only 1 to 3% of subsidies for food products are earmarked into vegetables and fruits and into produce, and not into animal products. So this is why animal products are so cheap to produce, because 97% of subsidies for so-called food products are allocated into subsidizing the production of animal products. So let's see here. What else does someone have to say? This job seems like drudgery, and it is. And the wage doesn't warrant the expenditure of time, money, and energy. You're going to have to spend a lot of money to commute to and from McDonald's. At one point in my life, I did actually work at McDonald's. From my experience, the longer you work there, the easier it got. I mainly handled the drive-thru in front customers. Some customers were rude and annoying and just wanted free food. My manager told me to do what they asked, but later said that I was right, and customers are blank. It was a great experience, as I learned a lot working at McDonald's. Plus, that $7 an hour looks good to any high school student. So I guess he deemed the experience to be somewhat gratifying, and he found a modicum of joy from the experience, which is always good. Let's see here. I worked there for about a year in high school. It wasn't bad. I got free food all the time, and the managers were college youths, were pretty cool. It had its busy moments, especially when school buses full of football players would roll up. That really sucked. They would trash everything and let the dining area absolutely disgusting. One thing I did enjoy in the grill was making sandwiches as neat as possible. Like commercial-looking sandwiches, this only happened when we were slow, but I'm sure those customers were pleasantly surprised. I'd also make my own food for my lunch. They would also be immaculate. Not bad for a first job, but I wouldn't want to do it full time, although I have heard managers are paid quite well and it's easy to move up the ladder. So moving up the corporate hierarchy may not have many barriers to entry, but it doesn't allow much of an increase for pay, to say the least. Here, it's pretty good as a 17-year-old who's still in high school. They give me plenty of hours and are, for the most part, very nice. Only bad thing is dealing with BS customers who think they are better than you. I get blamed for working at McDonald's, but I'm the only one in my group of friends who has a job. So, to give you a synopsis, sorry about that. The opinions, the sentiments are mixed. Some people loved it, other people detested it, other people found it to be somewhat decent. So, the opinions here are polarized, and it depends on the restaurant and the individual. Some benefits may be you can move up the corporate hierarchy pretty quickly, albeit it's a low increase in pay. You may be able to get free food, and the managers may be chill, depending on who you have as a manager. So, would I prefer to work there? No, I mean, I have my doctorate and MBA, and I'm hoping that I could attain a higher paying job. But sometimes you need to take your lumps and succumb to what you can get in the interim before you can attain a higher paying job. Attaining a higher paying job can take ample time. So I hope that gave you some perspective of what it's like to work at McDonald's. In my opinion, the experience is sheer and utter drudgery. You exhaust your vessel, and you have to work hard just to be able to obtain a low wage. So I have tremendous respect for the people working at McDonald's, but yet again, it's a job that I would never want to brook. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.